Peace. Back again. And in this video, I want to basically go over, the occult powers of the black magician. And I want to go over the occult powers of the black magician, and I want to tell you where they come from. A lot of people associate magic with something dark, with something evil. And I know as you're looking at the title of this video and you looking at the term Luciferian and things of that nature, you automatically associate it with the devil. Okay? But this is not necessarily true. Only in the sense that the symbol or the archetype of the devil or the adversary has always been the rebel. It's always been the person or the entity or the being in mythology that always went against the natural order. And only so much so because this individual relied on his own intelligence and his own willpower in order to shape his reality to whatever it is that he desired it to be, and to be able to shape the world around him to whatever he wanted it to be. And in magic, we have this entity which we associate our higher self with, known as the Daemon. And the Daemon is very similar to what in Orisha people call the Ori. There are many different approaches to actually awakening the Daemon and strengthening the Daemon. Of course, in the Orisha practice, you do your head rogations, you have rituals to feed your Ori, tap into your Ori, and so forth. And you can do a lot of many things with your Ori in that particular practice. But it's usually only associated with that which is good. But as a Luciferian, when you start to invoke and awaken your Daemon, what you're awakening is your higher consciousness, your intuition, your higher intellect. Okay, and this can be done whether it is directly through invocation, or it can be done directly through meditation. It can be done through various rituals to be able to take one into a trance in which they can become one with the Daemon guide. Now, ceremonial magicians also called the Daemon the Holy Guardian Angel. Aleister Crowley called it the Bornless One, and so forth. But for all intents and purposes, it's simply just our inner awareness. It is our inner consciousness. It is the consciousness that exists beyond all names and forms. It is the consciousness that exists beyond the mind and the body. And it is only through mystical practices and ceremonial magical practices that we are able to come into conscious communion with our Daemon. And the occult powers that come with doing this are many. And one of the things that I teach in my coaching is to teach people how to become one with their Daemon, and how to awakening and start working with their Daemon, and how to work with the Daemon on a ritualistic level, how to work with the Daemon through meditation, how to work with the Daemon through sexual magic, how to work with the Daemon through Tantra. The Daemon is what gives us as the magician our abilities. It is what gives us our powers because it is us. It is not a daemon as in a demon or something evil, okay? The Greek word daemon actually meant spirit. So basically what we're speaking about is our higher spirit, our higher intuition. That area of mentation that is beyond our normal train of thought, our normal thinking process, our conscious mind. As Carl Jung said, that we have a conscious mind, a subconscious mind, a superconscious mind, and the unconscious mind. Well, the Daemon exists there between the superconscious mind and the unconscious. The unconscious being that area of the abyss, what they were trying to associate in the movie Get Out with the sunken place. The sunken place, or the abyss. These are where things are unmanifested, okay? And by being able to supplant ideas through ritual and so forth into the subconscious, superconscious, and so forth, unconscious, we are able to program and shape our everyday reality. So what we have to understand is that the Daemon itself is our higher willpower, our true will. All right. This is why in ceremonial magic, Aleister Crowley had made popular the term "do as thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will." But to do as thou wilt was speaking about do as thou will, do thy will, do the will, the higher willpower. Whatever you do, do it with your higher will, do it with your daemon will, do it with your holy guardian angel, do it with your spiritual willpower. Okay, love is the law. Well, that was associated with sex magic. Love being associated with sex. Love is the law. Sex is the law. Sex under will, or love under will. Basically, directing your true will through your sexual energy in order to give birth to a manifestation, a miraculous manifestation, whatever it may be. So in magic, the magician always works to strengthen his connection to his daemon. He always works to strengthen his connection with his higher self. As a Luciferian, we're going to use the term daemon, but like I said, there's many different terminologies for this. Like I said, there's the holy guardian angel, there's the higher self, there's the Christ consciousness, whatever you want to call it. Okay? But the symbol that also is associated with the daemon and the powers of the daemon is the all-seeing eye. And they call it the all-seeing eye of Lucifer simply because it is the all-seeing eye of wisdom. It is the intuitive wisdom that comes from the higher self that allows us to know things without knowing them. This is one of the ways that I'm able to perform my consultations and my readings, is that I'm able to communicate and work directly with my daemon, or as the daemon, in order to communicate with the spiritual world. It is the daemon as well that allows us to leave this physical body and also go into the astral plane, and to be able to go into the spiritual world to communicate with other intelligences. In my work, we have a way of divining with the spirits of the dead, and we have a way of divining with the deities and things of that nature that we work with. But there's also a way as a magician where an individual is able to astral project and go into the realm, and go into the spiritual realm and communicate directly with the spirits of the dead. Therefore, you don't need divination. You literally get out of your body because you're able to take yourself, induce a particular state of trance that allows you to be able to get out of your body, go into the spiritual world, communicate with those spirits of the dead, whether it be an Infumbe, an ancestor, an Egun, or whatever, and then get back into your body after learning what it is that you needed to learn. They displayed this particular technique in the movie Black Panther, where the king got out of his body. They gave him the potion. He got out of his body. He went and talked to his ancestors, his father, and so forth, and he got back in his body, and he knew exactly what to do. Okay? This is more along the lines of shamanism as well. This is a shamanic practice. But this is something that we can easily do without any type of herbs or any type of special plants or whatever. This is something that we can do. The magical elixir that we utilize in order to do this is the breath. And through the breath, we are able to bring under control the life force or the vital forces. These vital forces, which are known in the Indian philosophy as Kundalini, are the actual basis of sexual energy that exists between the perineal, that exists in the perineal area between the anus and the genitals. For men, this is known as the center of the pubococcygeus muscle, which we use to squeeze and be able to pump the Kundalini energy up the spinal column into the brain. And here, that energy is able to permeate or stimulate the pineal gland, and therefore cause the pineal gland to have an orgasm. And when the pineal gland has an orgasm, it emits a particular neurochemical known as dimethyltryptamine, or DMT. And it is the DMT that actually is the death molecule. They call it the spirit molecule, but it is the very chemical or molecule that is secreted from the pineal gland during death, and which allows us to separate from our physical body. In my coaching as well, I teach people how to do this. I direct you and tell you what you need to do. I teach you the foods that you need to take in order to be able to fill your brain with the necessary chemicals and so forth. And that way, when you go and you perform the meditative techniques that I teach you in the coaching, you will have an experience of astral projection. You will have an experience of being able to separate from your physical body. This does take a degree of training, which is why I encourage people to book more than one coaching session, because there will be questions after you achieve the first level of this particular practice. But this is one of my personal methods for becoming in tune with your daemon, because once you are able to awaken your energy body and you're able to exist and operate as the daemon, then you are stepping into the realms of the mystic arts. You're stepping out of the realm of sorcery and you're moving into the realm of magic and shamanism. Okay? So, you know, there are other methods, there are other things that you can also incorporate in order to be able to program one's subconscious for this particular type of awakening. Certain invocations that you can begin practicing. You can also practice, like what I do is I take a recording of certain rituals. I don't have the time to perform the full ceremonial ritual with the circle and all of these different things. But in the coaching, I actually train you and teach you how to create and develop for yourself an inner temple. An inner temple where you actually perform the rituals that you would normally perform in the physical. So while you see people there with the dagger and the circle and the symbols and things of that nature, I teach you how to create that inside of your mind. So you don't have to basically spend time performing rituals, have all of these rooms set up with all of these different ceremonial objects and things of that nature. You actually create those things in your mind, and you're actually able to perform rituals and invocations on the fly. You're actually able to perform an invocation. You can invoke your daemon while you're standing in line at the grocery store. You can invoke your daemon while you're driving. You can invoke your daemon while you're having sex. And these things help us to be able to manifest things in the physical world more effortlessly and more efficiently. So in working with the daemon is the first level of magical development. Another technique for awakening the daemon is through meditation, of course, but it's also developing a technique known as samyama. Samyama is a concentration technique where the mind becomes one with the object of meditation. In this particular case, in the coaching, I teach people to become one with the breath. And I teach them how to utilize the breath as a mechanism, as something to ride into the spiritual realm. By focusing on the breath and learning to control the breath and being able to bring this particular energy up the spine into the brain safely. And I say safely because there is a chance that an individual can create what's known as Kundalini psychosis. And during Kundalini psychosis, you begin to start feeling sharp pains in your head if you're not taught properly how to ground this energy into the lower centers of your body. Okay? So, the daemon, again, is not something that's evil. It's not a demon. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some Luciferians who practice a more darker aspect of spirituality, and they're able to shape their daemon into what would appear to be demonic-looking creatures. Once we get out of our body onto the spiritual plane, we're able to shapeshift. This is something that I also teach you. We're able to shapeshift into whatever it is that we can imagine ourselves to be. You can appear as a black shade. You can appear as a gruesome creature. You can appear as a creature or some type of entity with tentacles and so forth. And this goes into what is known as predatory spirituality or vampirism. Okay? But first, you got to be able to get out of the body in order to even get to that point. This is not something that is an imaginary thing where you say, oh, I was in this dreamy state and I got out of my body and I did this. This is something that you actually know is going on when it happens. But the first step, of course, is to awaken the daemon or to awaken the higher self. Okay? When we think about awakening the higher self in the spiritual community, we always associate it with something so super holy and pure. And it is a holy and pure and sacred experience, don't get me wrong. But this is one of the reasons why I practice the left-hand path and why I am a Luciferian is because as a Luciferian, my higher self is autonomous, okay? And when I say autonomous, it's free to create and destroy at will. It's free to be able to do whatever it is that I will it to do, that I will to do my will, okay, on this earth. It's not a moralistic thing. It's not something where you have to say, oh, you have to be good or you have to be this way or you have to be vegan or you have to be that in order to awaken the daemon. I know people who have very, very strong daemons and they're able to invoke their daemon very, very efficiently. And these people smoke cigarettes, cigars, drink whiskey, eat pork, whatever. It has nothing to do with that. Everything exists here in your ability to concentrate and your ability to work with your vital forces within your body. And this is what I teach you to do. Now, don't get me wrong. Having proper health and having a healthy diet and not smoking and things of that nature will help you to facilitate this particular process a lot faster, but it is not absolutely necessary to do so. Okay? So I hope that this short video, I don't want to go too in depth in this particular video because I have other topics that I want to talk on tonight, but I hope that this particular video was able to, get you guys interested into what this particular principle of Luciferian is, awakening and working with your daemon. And hopefully you will go ahead and book a coaching session with me so that I can start to help and work with you on the process of awakening that daemon, because this is the first step to magic. This is the first step to being able to develop occult powers, occult abilities, and things of that nature. And it does take practice. But if you don't know what to practice and you don't know how to practice, then you won't ever get anywhere. You can read as many books as you want on Amazon. You can download as many PDFs as you want. But when you have someone who can put the pieces together for you and show you what you need to do so that it works, you'll get results. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, is getting results. So I want to share that information with you guys, but I share that information through my coaching. So definitely book a spiritual coaching session with me, and I'll help you to awaken your daemon. Peace.